Happy 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time. This weekend's readings are great. The first reading comes from the prophet Jeremiah. So we are switching out of Isaiah, and now we are hearing from Jeremiah. And the first sentence of the reading from Jeremiah says, "You duped me, O Lord, and I let myself be duped." So sometimes I think scripture can be kind of funny. Jeremiah is saying, God, you tricked me, and I let myself be tricked. So Jeremiah is having this very normal kind of conversation with God. So when God called Jeremiah to be a prophet, to be someone who would speak for him to his chosen people, Jeremiah was very young. He was a teenager. And Jeremiah did not want to do it. He was like, people are not going to like me if I tell them what you want me to tell them for you. And God reassured him. God said, I have called you for this. I will give you the words. I will be with you. You got this. So Jeremiah agrees. A couple chapters later in his book, and he's like, God, you tricked me. This is really hard, right? But God continues to reassure him. And even though, listen to the reading, because I want you to figure out, even though Jeremiah seems at the beginning of the reading to be kind of frustrated with God and not feeling too good, listen to how he feels by the end of the reading and what he chooses to do on his own, even though being a prophet is hard. So listen for that when you're watching Mass or attending Mass this weekend. The Gospel comes to us from Matthew's Gospel, and it's the story right after Peter makes that amazing proclamation that Jesus is the Messiah. And when he does that, Jesus entrusts the keys of the kingdom to him and basically initiates the sacrament of confession, telling him whose sins you retain are retained and whose sins you loose are loosed, right? So right after that, though, man, like Peter's riding a high. Things are going good for the disciples. And then Jesus tells them that he needs to go to Jerusalem. And at this point in time, Jesus has been warning them a lot. Lots of people are not liking what Jesus had to say. Kind of like what was happening to Jeremiah. People were not liking what Jeremiah had to say, and now some people were not liking what Jesus had to say. They felt threatened, and the disciples were like, Jesus, if you go to Jerusalem during Passover, this could be bad for you. This could be bad news. And Jesus tells his disciples, if you want to follow me, you have to take up your cross. Jesus knew what was coming, and he was trying to prepare his followers to say, the kingdom that I have been preaching about all this time, these last 3 years, the kingdom that we've been learning about all summer long in Ordinary Time, that kingdom, you have to carry your cross in order to enter that kingdom, because that's what I'm going to do for you. But he leaves us with hope in saying, it is totally worth it. Totally worth it. So what we learn from all three of these readings that you're going to hear this weekend is, even though we may not always understand what God is calling us to, even though it might be hard in the moment, what the Lord is asking for us is to be faithful. It's for us to trust him today, and for us to live as the very best Christian we can today. And guess what, guys? If we do that yesterday, today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, that's how we are able to enter the kingdom of heaven. And if we all do it really, really well, that brings the kingdom of heaven to earth. Now, I know that next week is going to be a big week for most of us. We're going to be starting school. Things may be looking a little bit different. We might have some anxieties, some worries, some stresses. We're called to be faithful. We're called to be faithful. So I encourage all of you, maybe because we're doing online school and maybe because our schedule's a little different and we have a little extra time, say a prayer before you log in the morning. Parents, if you're watching this, take that extra second. Center yourselves in prayer and say, maybe some of what we're going through right now is a cross, is a little bit harder for us, isn't necessarily what we expected. But God is reminding us that he is with us and that those who are faithful to him, he cares for. So blessings for all of you as you start school. I will be praying for you. I'm right here with you. I hope that everything goes well.